Breath of the Wild had many great structures and ruins, and I began to wonder what were these places once, and one of the most fascinating structures was the Coliseum Ruins, and it was also one of the largest. You know, back in its heyday that this place, it had to be something great because it just looked sweet. As I began exploring the area, I started to question, how was it constructed? Does this location have any significance? How many people would come and from how far? And then what events took place here? I'm going to theorize on those questions and more and conclude with, was this the greatest Coliseum ever? Now let's talk a little bit about the construction. The construction had to begin after any game in the timeline before Breath of the Wild. We just don't see any resemblance of it in another game. Arbiter's Grounds is close, but Arbiter's Grounds is just not that large. And the Coliseum Ruins, it appears that it was built within a mountain. We have a large cliff on the southwest side and then large rock formations on the front. Counting the floor levels, there are 5 levels total, and then we have stairs going up to each level. Now the levels, they don't appear to have any railings, which I find to be shocking, but I'll talk a little bit about that later on. It doesn't appear that stands were ever there either, which I also found a little surprising. Now the windows, they're about 2 to 3 feet thick, and they have vertical and horizontal bars on each side. I think these were to keep people from sneaking in. And now we have a large opening in the front. I think most likely this was to bring in large animals or props in for battle. Now this place, it could have had more levels as the top is destroyed, but I just don't think so, and I also don't think there was ever a roof on this place. I think it was either called Hyrule Coliseum or Aquame Coliseum. I'm not really sure if I pronounced that right. Hyrule is pretty self-explanatory. Aquame Lake and Bridge are right around that area, so I thought it could have also had that name. It is located at the bottom of Central Hyrule, northwest of the Great Plateau, but why was it built there? It could have been the best spot available at the time, or I think more logically, it was accessible for most of Hyrule. Now anyone could get there via foot as paths connect all over Hyrule, but let's go ahead and let's map it out a little bit. The Gerudo could have gotten there via path while crossing Dig Dog Suspension Bridge, or they could have taken Regencia River, and you'll see Regencia River become a theme because that's the one that leads in to the Coliseum Ruins. Now Rito Village, they could have taken a path, but they probably most likely flew. Castletown and Hyrule Castle could get there via Regencia River. It would be a little bit tougher for the Gorons as they would have to come down Death Mountain and take Regencia River, but we've seen the Gorons do a lot, unless it's that stupid Goron in Majora's Mask that could not jump down 10 feet. The Zords could get there via Zor River and then Regencia River. Hateno Village would take Fear River, Scobble River, Hylia River, and then Regencia River. Kakariko Village could walk down to Lanayru Wetlands and take Regencia River. Now Lurelin Village would be sort of screwed in this whole situation, but let's be honest, it doesn't really look like they leave a lot, and why would you if you lived in an awesome place like that? The main point that I'm trying to make here is that almost everyone can get there via water, and that's very important. And then there's also a moat right there before the Coliseum Ruins, which I think was like key, and I think it helped keep trespassers out. And there's also only one main way to get into the Coliseum Ruins. It would be awesome seeing all these different races in one area. We would have the humans, and along with that would come royalty, the Rito, Gorons, Zoras, and Koroks. Now the levels are flat, so for me it'd be standing room only. The higher levels, you could only see the action if you were at the front, or if there were large and tall creatures, but you could also easily fallen off. Now, was this part of the entertainment? Would it like become part of the show? And then we also have the mountain on the southwest corner. I think a crowd could have set up on top of there, and then that mountain, it looks almost directly at Hyrule Castle. I don't really know if there's a point there, I just thought it was kind of cool. And then it would be awesome to have that seat by the entrance where the level cuts off, because right there you'd be able to see all these tall and large creatures coming in that it would just be a sight to see. The best evidence for what events took place in the Coliseum is to take a look at the ruins today in Breath of the Wild. Patrolling the sides of the chamber are Bokoblins, who are carrying fire elemental weapons, Lizalfos carrying ice elemental weapons, and Moblins carrying thunder elemental weapons. And then we have a silver Lionel awaiting in the center of the Coliseum, preparing to do battle with you. They're the most powerful enemies relative to where you are in the game, meaning that the monsters in the Coliseum become stronger as you progress. Each of them is wielding rare weapons for you to take once you dispose of them. This makes me feel like it was a place solely of great combat. Right now you might be saying, well duh Hick, but it could have also held executions, plays, acrobats, and magicians. The Roman Coliseum did that during some of their lunch intervals, but I just don't think that it happened here. Now what kind of combat took place here? I think we got gladiator versus gladiator, gladiator versus creature, and then everyone's favorite because, well, they didn't die, was probably creature versus creature. Now one thing that I do want to address is we could have had heroes versus armored phantoms, as we got the phantom helmet in the Master's Trial DLC pack, but that was something that was added to the game, wasn't originally in there, so I wouldn't put too much stock into it, but like I said, I just wanted to address it. Let's answer the question at hand and the overall point of this video. Is this the greatest Coliseum ever? Hell no!
Hell no!
It was constructed horribly, there is no evidence for stands or railings, the vision was horrible if you weren't at the edge of the platform, but remember, you could also fall off that edge, and then the stairs were only at one part of the level, so it would be horrible to get to your seat, especially the higher up you went. I hope the architect was thrown into the fighting pit. Now with this, I do believe it was a great place right up until the calamity with fantastic battles and large crowds. It's definitely an iconic structure in Breath of the Wild, and I hope that we see it in future games.